If we start with the horse's teeth, the bottom jaw chews in a circular motion. So it's really important that we're having correct dental wear. And research has shown that when horses are out in a field and they're constantly grazing, and if we use that wild horse or horse that's out grazing continually as kind of the gold standard of what is a normal horse, they will chew about 60,000 times. So that bottom jaw will sweep across about 60,000 times. If we put him in a stall and we feed him what we would consider a normal amount of hay, about 15 to 20 pounds of hay and anywhere from 6 to 12 pounds of grain, all of that combined, he's only going to chew about 30,000 times. So just by putting a horse in a stall and feeding him hay and grain, we're already significantly cutting down on the amount of chews. Next, we move to the esophagus of the horse, the throat. And this is, in people, your windpipe and your esophagus are the same. So if I was choking on my food, I would also not be able to breathe. They're two separate pipes in the horse. And so when a horse chokes, they can still breathe, but they'll be constantly coughing and straining to try and dislodge whatever is stuck in its throat. And really, anything can get stuck in a horse's throat. It's a muscular tube. And there's really no way of training that muscular tube to get stronger. Saliva is produced in the mouth, and the first part of what that saliva does is it lubricates the throat to help that food slide down the esophagus. But if a horse eats too quickly and they put too much food and they try to swallow too much food, then it's going to get stuck in the throat and cause choke. And it really can happen with any type of food that you provide to a horse. It's more likely to happen if a horse has choked in the past. There might be some scar tissue there, and so it will increase your horse's risk for choke. Any horses that eat really quickly or bolt their food, new horses to the facility, bottom of the pecking order, these horses are all at much higher risk of choking than others. There's things that you can do. We recommend that you put the feed bucket closer to the ground because that stimulates more chewing, therefore more saliva. You can put a big brick in the feed tub to slow them down. Feed hay first. Feed enough hay continually so that the horse is not hungry, so that they won't be bolting their food. So as I mentioned, saliva is a buffer. If we take that 2 pounds of any kind of grain concentrate and we put it in a tub on the ground, the horse will chew about 1,000 times. If we take that same 2 pounds of hay and we put it on the ground, he'll chew about 2,000 times, because long stem hay, it takes a lot longer, a lot more sweeps to chew that. And so therefore it's producing more saliva. 2 pounds of grain concentrate, if we feed it in the typical position that we all do in a stall and we hang a bucket on the wall, they're only going to chew that between 350 to 500 times. So you can see that we're significantly decreasing the amount of saliva by hanging buckets higher. Saliva, number one, I mentioned it's going to lubricate the esophagus so that we can swallow food, but it also buffers stomach acid. One of the biggest problems we see in horses today, domestic horses, is gastric ulcers, and it's 100% man-made.